everyone, welcome back to my channel, Make It Destination. My name is Amanda and this is where I help you make it to your destination. I just want to say I am so sorry for not posting consistently. I've been going back to school and also working, so it's just been a lot to transition into this period, but hopefully in the near future I'll be posting more consistently. If there are any video ideas you want to see in the future, please let me know in the comments. So this week we're going to be talking about weekend trip ideas for the fall. I have always loved the fall season, especially in the Northeast, because the fall foliage is beautiful. I love the crispness in the air. It's just pumpkin spice coffee, apple cider donuts, apple picking. There's just something about the fall season that's just really cozy and it gets you excited for the holidays. So I'm going to tell you about some weekend trip itineraries that I've created here for you. And I've mainly focused on the Hudson River Valley. Now, I know a lot of my viewers are from upstate New York or just the New York region in general, and I wanted to make sure it was somewhere close, but also, you know, sometimes when you live in New York or, in the Northeast, you kind of overlook places that are in your own backyard, and I just wanted to let you guys know that you don't have to travel super far in order to feel like you're away from home. So this is going to center upon the Hudson River Valley, and I also think it's just a beautiful place in the fall, You see the Hudson River, you see all the fall foliage, you could go on hikes, you could explore the small little towns, try a new restaurant. It's kind of a beautiful incorporation of nature and, the small town feel. So I wanted to give you some itinerary ideas so that you could get on your way to a beautiful weekend trip just to get away and relax and take your mind off of everything that's going on lately. So let's get into the Hudson River Valley. All right, before we get into it, please make sure you like this video. Please make sure you comment and let me know which Hudson River city is your favorite, city or town or place to explore if you've been. And make sure you hit the subscribe button and the notification bell because I know you never want to miss any of my videos. Okay, so we're going to start this video with just a brief little history about the Hudson River Valley if you don't already know, just kind of the backstory behind it. I personally have lived in the Hudson River Valley all of my life. When I went to school, I also, downstate, I was still near the Hudson River. It's just always been an essential part of my life. And honestly, it's a very important in New York State history, and it's a beautiful place to explore. Ironically enough, the Hudson River was discovered by accident by Englishman Henry Hudson, who was trying to find a new route to China. So the Hudson River ends in New York City. It starts in the Adirondacks at the Lake Tier of Clouds and ends in New York City. So he actually started in New York City and went up and then finally realized, he was not in China. The Hudson River Valley has been a tourist attraction, honestly, since its discovery. It inspired many writers, poets, artists. You could see a lot of historic art that was inspired just by how beautiful the Hudson River was. There are several museums in Albany that you could honestly see. There's been lots of towns and cities to explore near the Hudson River because of the beauty that was behind the region and how people really admired the Hudson River and the environment around it. This has led, to more touristy places popping up, some like hotels, especially in the Catskills. That was one place that really led to the creation of touristy hotels just because people loved the balance of nature and kind of the small town vibe that the Catskills give. So it's a great place to observe fall foliage. There's lots of towns, and even if they are inland, for some reason there's just some energy with the Hudson River that gives it that water energy a lot of people really like. Again, the Catskills, Hudson, are very popular with people from New York City, right? If you live in the city, sometimes you want to see some greenery, you want to escape the hustle and bustle, and those are places that a lot of people from the city come up to. So I'm going to give you a few towns that I really like, that hold a special place in my heart, and hopefully you'll be able to explore those sooner rather than later. So our first stop on our little itinerary journey is an hour and 40 minutes from New York City, and actually an hour 40 from Albany. And it's a town that I recently just explored. I've always wanted to go there, but I just haven't had time, and I finally went last week, and it's Cold Spring. Cold Spring is a small town on the east side of the Hudson, and you can take Metro North there. It's a small, cute little town, and the main reason why I went was because of the Hudson Highlands Park. So it's this kind of parks and recreation area that has several trails that you could go on. And some of the trails lead you to higher elevation, so you could see the Hudson from a higher vantage point. And then the one that we went on was the Cornish Estate Trail. So there's lots of history behind this Cornish estate. It was owned by a diamond supplier and his wife, and unfortunately the mansion or the estate went up in flames in 1958. But the ruins are still there. And the Cornish estate was built, I think, around 1910, and they have pictures within the forest showing you what it looked like before compared to obviously what you see in front of you. And it's an easy trail. It's not one of those trails where you feel like it's impossible or you're huffing and puffing too much. It is half paved, half dirt, so that really does help. But it was a really fun place to explore because you're seeing, you know, a piece of history. A lot of prestigious families have had their estates near the Hudson River, and it was just awesome to see this huge, I think they owned like over 600 acres of this estate, and this was a place where people lived. You know, they had a swimming pool, a mansion, I think they had like another part to the estate, and it's just beautiful to see the ruins, even though it is a little eerie, but it's just, there's something about it that, and incorporating history and nature was really nice. And it's right along the Hudson. You're right near the train station because the train is kind of right near the trail, which is really cool. So I would definitely explore that. And again, it's not a difficult trail. It's not one of those where you feel like you have to prep and get ready, could pack a snack or two, but it was really fun to explore. So then when you get into Cold Spring proper, it is a small town, very cute and very old architecture, you know, narrow streets, but honestly, it does feel modern, if that makes sense, because of how the town has revitalized the buildings and what businesses they've put in there. So one retail shop that I highly recommend to go to, and honestly, sorry, there's just sirens in the bag. Hello. I'm in danger. One retail shop that I recommend is Poor George, and I don't know how I found out about it. I feel like I found out on Instagram or something like that. And they have great home good decor. Beautiful, like all these cute like grow your own plant kits. They have, you know, little pots that they, you know, for plants that they sell. Lots of gardening stuff, you know, just little like knickknacks here and there that I really liked. And they do have a nice selection of like trendy local clothing, which is really cool. I did go in person because I always wanted to go. I've just seen it on Instagram. So when I went in, it was just really nice to like go, you know, see the clothes and see the setup. They do have an online shop, but again, it's really cool when you go. And definitely explore the town, walk around. There's a few cool restaurants and businesses there. So I would highly recommend just like walking around and taking a stroll because it does have that small town feel, and it's really nice, you know, to not be overwhelmed, you know, because they have a whole bunch of like street trees and nature surrounding, and the Hudson River is like right in front of you, and it's just a really beautiful smaller town. And I think honestly a weekend is long enough in Cold Spring. You know, if you do a Saturday, Sunday, or even Friday, Saturday, Sunday, there are surrounding activities that you could do if you do feel like you could explore Cold Spring in one day. But honestly, I feel like 2 or 3 days is perfect. And once the leaves start changing, I could just only imagine how beautiful it is. So that was our first stop, and let's go on and move to our second stop. Okay, so our second stop on this itinerary journey is Beacon/Rhinebeck. So again, we're still on the east side of the river. I'll show you a map to show you where Rhinebeck and Beacon are. And I grouped these two together because I felt like if you are quick to explore small towns, maybe this would be one to kind of do both in one weekend, right? I think Rhinebeck is really small, so it might be a little underwhelming if you're staying for 3 days, but I think if you kind of put together Beacon and Rhinebeck, it would make a wonderful trip. Explore both towns, see what you like. I think I would explore Rhinebeck before Beacon, but honestly, you could do whatever you'd like. It's about an hour 30. Both of them are about an hour 30 from Albany. I think an hour 50 from New York City. Again, you could take the Metro North train to Beacon, but I don't think you could take it to Rhinebeck. So you might need a car. There might be Zipcar. You could rent a car if you don't have your own personal vehicle. The cool thing about Beacon is that they have an art museum. I think it's called the DIA Art Museum. beautiful. It almost reminds me of Mass Mocha, to be honest with you. Very modern, beautiful exhibits. I think the day that we went, it was free admission. I don't think the admission is too much, maybe like $12, but don't quote me on that. But that's a very cool museum to explore in Beacon. Also, if you're in Beacon, you have to go to Glazed Over, which is this delicious donut shop that they have there. And they make their donuts fresh. You could walk around and see how they make the donuts. It's wonderful, to be honest with you. And it's beautiful because there's a mountain right near Beacon. So as you're walking through the town, right behind Beacon is this, huge mountain. And it just feels like you're in one of those like small like mountain towns in like Washington State almost. Obviously you don't have those big, red forest trees, but it does feel like you're in another world when you're in Beacon. And there's a lot of restaurants to explore. There's a lot of shops to go to. They have a crystal shop / kind of like spiritual store. They have a few good restaurants. I've heard about Kitchen Sink. That's really good. Again, I think they closed just for catering, but I've heard that's a good restaurant. It's just a fun place to walk around. And I've also noticed every time I go to Beacon, there's new development. So I know either their population is growing or and more people are finding out about Beacon. So it is a great place to go and just explore the town, see what it's like. And then moving on to Rhinebeck. Rhinebeck is a small town north of Poughkeepsie. Again, it has that small town vibe. It is smaller, in my opinion. The main strip is smaller than Beacon, but there's a lot to unpack within Rhinebeck. If you do go to Rhinebeck, kind of outside, I don't say outside, but I think like a 10 or 15 minute drive in Hyde Park, there is the Vanderbilt Mansion that you can explore. I've only driven through it, but again, like I said, these prestigious, wealthy families had their estates near the Hudson River Valley for a reason, and it was because of its beauty that's very unique to the region. So there is the Vanderbilt Mansion on Route 9 in Hyde Park, like either 10 or 15 minutes from Rhinebeck if you do have a car to explore. One of my favorite restaurants in Rhinebeck is called Terrapin. It's this beautiful old church that was redone into a restaurant. And they actually have two sides. I think they have kind of a higher end restaurant side, and then they have a more affordable bistro side. And I've only been to the bistro side. But honestly, the large cathedral ceilings, the stained glass, just the way they redid everything. Food is delicious, drinks are delicious, and every time I go to Rhinebeck, I always stop by Terrapin. And then if you're looking for more nature incorporated into your weekend trip, you could throw in the Ferncliff Forest in Rhinebeck. I did this trail when I went to Marist, and they have a fire tower, and it was around the fall time because I took it in this class in the fall semester. And it was beyond beautiful because when you're going up this fire tower, again, you're at a higher elevation, you have a better vantage point of the surrounding area. And I don't believe it was too difficult of a hike. Again, if you're taking a whole class, it's not going to be excruciating. So I think it was pretty easy to moderate, but that view was definitely worth it. If you're looking for a place to see the fall foliage in a whole other way, definitely go to Ferncliff Forest in Rhinebeck. So yeah, I would definitely make sure you blend those two. And if you want, you could always add little small towns in between. There's always a new place to explore. Those are the two cities I would put together to explore, again, because they're both on the smaller side. Beacon's larger, in my opinion, but exploring both really go hand in hand, and you'll really get the Hudson Valley vibe and culture by going to these two small towns. I'm excited to hear about your trip if you do decide to go to Beacon or Rhinebeck, and then we're gonna get into the third place. So let's keep going. Thank you so much for watching this video until this point. I really appreciate it. Make sure you like it if you made it this far. Our last stop is up to Hudson, and it's about an hour from Albany, and most likely I would say maybe like 2.5 hours from New York City. Again, it's on the east side of the Hudson. I don't know why I've been saying on just the east side. There are cool places on the west, but these are the places that I would go for a weekend trip. Hudson is a place that is beloved by downstate New Yorkers and people from New York City. It's just something, I think they just love the small town energy mixed in with the nature and also the appreciation for food that Hudson has. Hudson has many surrounding farms, and the local restaurants really do take advantage of that in the sense that they make sure that they get most of their food from these local farms, which is awesome. And I think there is an appreciation that people feel when they go to these restaurants of, wow, like, you know, this food was from a farm 10 minutes away, 5 minutes away. You could taste the freshness, you could taste the care. And that's really what Hudson, in my opinion, is known for. It is one of those small towns that is very foodie driven, but you could also go and connect with the food yourself by exploring these farms, which is an awesome experience. So they're great restaurants. Highly recommend Little Deb's Oasis, Gray's Inn Diner. They have local, they offer local beef, just because Gray's Inn Diner is a burger place. I would definitely say Hudson Food Studio is a cool place to check out too. Beautiful, modern architecture, kind of an Asian fusion sort of place. If you want something different, I would definitely check out Hudson Food Studio. And they have a cool courtyard. So if you're not comfortable with eating indoors, you could definitely go outside. I think they have heaters outside. It's just a beautiful place to be. And just kind of like the vines and the plants kind of just make you feel like you're not really in New York, if that makes sense. So it's just a beautiful place to go. If you're looking for, again, more nature to incorporate into your weekend trip, like I said before, there's several farms you could choose from for apple picking, berry picking, even to pick some vegetables. Again, we're getting into that fall season. This is a fall weekend trip video, so apple picking is a New York State staple, and that is something that is an awesome experience to do, whether you're a couple, whether you're going solo, whether you're going with a family. It's just a lot of fun to pick some apples and then getting some apple cider donuts and some apple cider after. So Hudson definitely has a variety of farms you could choose from. And then if you're looking for a more hike-oriented weekend trip, I would definitely recommend the High Falls hike. I think it's the highest waterfall either in Hudson or in that region, like in that area or in the county, and it's a beautiful hike. Not too difficult, honestly. I think it took us maybe like 30 minutes, if that. Very easy to moderate. Nothing is paved, but it's easy to find. Parking is accessible. Again, I know I keep saying this, but once the leaves start changing, it's going to be a beautiful hike. Like, just seeing like the huge like waterfall come down and kind of the little like pond slash, I don't know, river or stream area. It was just very beautiful to see in the summertime. And I just could only imagine how beautiful it's gonna be in the fall. So that was my weekend trip itinerary journey for us. I wanna help you guys kind of learn how to plan trips and come up with ideas, and just remember that you don't have to go on a plane or go somewhere super far or for a long period of time in order to have a great trip, to just get away and relax, connect with nature, try some cool restaurants, meet awesome people. I think New York really does a good job of trying to promote the exploration of the state, and you really can do that in the beautiful Hudson River Valley. You could go to the Adirondacks if you want to switch it up. I just focus mainly on the Hudson River Valley for this video, because honestly, it's just one of the most beautiful places to be in the fall. But I really hope you enjoy your fall weekend trip, and please let me know in the comments where you decide to go. Let me know what your favorite Hudson River Valley town, city, or village is, and make sure you like this video, make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell, and until next time.